community. Dave Savage, CEO of Mortgage Coach here, and welcome to America's top mortgage professionals. As you guys know, we are dedicated to being the best of the best, and we're dedicated to helping families when they get into debt understand their options, provide them with graphs and charts, understand how the mortgage can help them build wealth with real estate, and it's always great to have you guys here. So thanks for making it to our Tuesday call. I do know there's a number of you that are on this call with real estate agents. We saw some posts on social. I got a number of emails. You know, is this for lenders or loan officers? It's for both. So for those of you that don't come to our calls every Tuesday I'm interviewing someone amazing. Last week, it was one of the top loan officers in the country. Lori Richardson will do a debrief on that at some point in the call. Today, I have Mr. Chris Smith. First time we've had Chris in the Mortgage Coach community. Chris, welcome to the call, my friend.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me on. I'm pumped to be here.
Yeah, no, I had a number of folks in our community that knew you by reputation. They've read your book, The Conversion Code, and they're excited to hear what you're going to share with everybody. So I'm going to do a quick debrief on last week's activity and then bring you in. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. So we've had a big showing to our 10 Days to Rockstar program. So I think we had over 500 mortgage coaches on yesterday's call. And so this is a super hot call every single day, 10 days from, what was it, yesterday? On a weekday, we are covering some strategies, some quick tip that the best mortgage coaches are using. So highly recommend you check it out. Also, I noticed a lot of production assistants. So if you've got a team, make sure someone on the team is on this call. And again, you can go to our Facebook page, you can go to our calendar on our website, check it out. Also, I wanted to just shine a light on the call I did with Darren Hardy on Thursday. I think most of you know we've partnered with Darren to create Insane Productivity with Mortgage Coach. So, you know, we've done interviews on that. I think many of you know about that. If you don't know about it, I am going to, just for this call, give you guys a link to the recording. Also, we did something kind of cool. It's the first time we've done this, where we hired a visual thinker to sketch out the cliff notes from that call. So if you look in the handout section where it says visual notes from the Darren Hardy call, this was someone listening to the call live and sketching out the takeaways. So one, we're experimenting with this. You know, when should we use this? When should we take the takeaways and the ideas from a call and put it out there visually? So you can download that right now. It is in the handout sections of today's call. So to set up today's call, I wanted to bring one takeaway from that call with Darren into today's call to really tee up the conversation. And this is something that I absolutely believe, that digital dysfunction is the #1 productivity killer in the mortgage industry. And there's two sides of this. One side of it is too many loan officers just, you know, confusing business with busyness. And whether it's Facebook, whether it's social, whether it's living in their inbox, their, you know, alert land, they're just not focusing on the things that really drive the needle. Or there's the other side of it, where how we can use technology as mortgage professionals and where so many professionals are in terms of just human adaptability, you know, understanding how to pull out their phone at the right time and do the right things. And so, you know, right now we're off balance, you know, especially the boomers and the Gen X. We're not where you should be in terms of using your mobile phone and using technology. And technology is changing rapidly. Literally by the middle of 2017, the divide is going to be even greater. So this is the question. You know, how do you jump from where you're at today, using your mobile phone strategically, leveraging technology the way you could be and should be? What do you need to do? And you know, our belief is you just need to learn faster. And so this call is going to be one opportunity to learn how to use Facebook more strategically, learn how to use modern marketing strategies more intelligently. We brought in an amazing guest to walk us through some ideas and concepts. And this is my challenge to everybody on this call. And I believe this: the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who can't read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So I would challenge everybody when it comes to Facebook, it's time to unlearn some things, and it's time to learn some new things. So today's guest is, if you're a realtor, you either know of this guy, you've seen him speak, you've seen his brand. As you know, I'm always bringing in what I think are the best leaders, teachers, speakers in the real estate space, as well as some of the top loan officers, top realtors. And today we have Chris Smith. Chris Smith is the author of The Conversion Code. And so Chris, if you could, before we get into your keynote, just give us a little bit about your story, who you are, for those on the call that don't know who you are.
Sure. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I've spent the last decade generating and converting leads. I worked in the boiler room at Quicken Loans. I worked for a billionaire named Lou Pearlman, and now I have a $10 million a year company that is less than 3 years old. And what I believe, I think you're right. I think that, this idea of learning and unlearning and relearning, I think most people, Dave, are social not working. They're not social networking. And we live in a world where people look at Facebook more than they look at people's faces. And so I'm just bullish on leads, appointments, and sales. I'm just not romantic where they come from. And I felt like somebody needed to write the book on capturing leads, creating appointments, and closing people over the phone in a modern era, which is totally different than a lot of the training that amazing coaches of the past have given, people like Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy. We just live in a new world, and so there's new tactics that work better.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And just to set the table, Chris, I think you already know us. I was referred to you by Tom Ferry, but I mean, at the end of the day, while we add a lot of value in a lot of different places, it's conversion. It's so that when a loan officer is meeting with a family, they can differentiate, and they can do it with technology. Whether a family is coming into an office, which is not the norm in today's market, but it happens, or whether it's just a complete internet experience where the loan officer, forward a link to a first-time home buyer and they're netting it out. Our whole philosophy is differentiate and leverage technology to differentiate, and conversion is what we're all about. So I think you already know that, but wherever you can weave it into your story, the biggest challenge we always have, it's just getting loan officers to leverage their technology at the right time in the right way. You feel me on that?
Yeah, you're right, man. I think what happens is Seth Godin said something recently that really resonated with me, which was it's never been easier to get or lose attention. So,
right.
We can get their attention with all the tricks and tactics I'll teach today, but it still comes down to the person and the tools and the strategy and the tactics and the helpfulness. So yeah, if you basically get the internet right, you actually just end up with more people to talk to. That really is the mecca, is more calls with more people that are ready to refinance or buy a home than ever.
Love it. Well, I'm looking forward to the keynote you have prepared for the Mortgage Coach community. One last pre-frame before I let you roll is everybody on the call is a lender. While some are sitting with their realtors right now, as lenders, we've got two customers. One, the real estate agent that refers us business. So obviously we want to add value and crush it for them. And then obviously the borrower, the family that says, hey, can you help me get a loan? What's your rate? And I've got a differentiate or die. So, just put that in mind. I do think while you and I can spend hours, I really want to make sure we crush it by the end of the call so that our mortgage coach professionals can be better leaders on Facebook to realtors, and they can help realtors together create more leads. So with that in mind, rock it out, Chris.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dave. And I'm going to get through my background really quickly because we hit on it. But the guy on the screen, his name is Lou Pearlman, and he was a multi-billionaire. He's actually the guy who discovered NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, and Britney Spears. And my first job calling leads was for him. He actually did events in Orlando where people from all over the country would come down and try to get discovered. And this is pre-YouTube, pre-American Idol. None of those things even existed yet. And they were a pretty shady organization. I mean, they really towed the line of ethics. but working there for a couple months, I picked up some really powerful techniques and ideologies that helped me every single day since then. I basically took what I learned from them and tried to apply it, with my natural morals and ethics that I have. And I'll never forget, Dave, I went in on my first day, and the coach at Lou Pearlman's company drew what you see on the screen up on the whiteboard. And he was explaining how easy and scientific sales can be if we let it. He said, Chris, selling is easy. You have to get people more emotionally excited than the cost during the time that you have their attention. And once you've done that, you can close them and ask for their business. But there is a science to sales, and it may feel complex to generate leads and convert leads, but there really is a science to this. And when I asked my coach, I said, Coach, I'm brand new. I don't really know a lot about the product. I don't really know a lot about the script. What would be the number one way to get people to buy from me over the phone since I'm the new guy? And he said, well, Chris, that's easy. You just have to have enthusiasm. If you want to call and convert leads at the highest rate possible, there's a reason enthusiasm ends with IASM, because it means I am sold myself. And that is so critical to conversion. These are the intangibles that you just can't teach. After I left Lou Pearlman's company, I think my background and my experience that'll be the most exciting to the people on this call is that I was calling and converting mortgage leads for almost 2 years for Quicken Loans. That's Dan Gilbert. He created Quicken Loans. He also owns the Cleveland Cavs. And I got a chance to kind of go into that organization and really see what they were doing at a micro level to capture and convert leads. So a lot of the things I'll teach you guys actually come directly from the mortgage industry. But I'll never forget my first day at Quicken when I got to learn from Dan Gilbert directly. He basically taught us this lesson about human communication. And one of the challenges for loan officers and realtors is that a lot of you guys built your career belly to belly. You actually would have people come down to the local credit union, or they would maybe meet you at a house to go see it. And now we live in a world where 99% of the communication is going to start online or digitally or through the phone. And if you look at the way the breakdown works for just how human beings communicate in general, body language and physiology is a huge part of that. And so when you're on the phone and you're calling mortgage leads or you're calling Zillow leads, the tone of your voice, that enthusiastic, positive tone, is infinitely more important than the words you say. And that's why you can hand a script to a brand new loan officer like me, and I was able to write 40 loans in my first week because it was all about the enthusiasm and the tone. It had nothing to do with PMI and APR. Like, I didn't even know what that stuff meant by the time I wrote my 40th loan on my 5th day. I just knew how to get excited on the phone and get people to buy from me. So once I left Quicken, I actually started a really popular blog called Tech Savvy Agent. And that's where I learned a lot about real estate agents. I would go to 2 offices every day, and I had to teach them technology. I was supposed to teach them how to build websites and run their database and generate leads. And from that experience, I just learned very quickly that real estate agents and in general, people that are digital immigrants, people that weren't kind of born with technology in their hand the way I was, they can get very frustrated. They need help. They don't need hype. So I literally made a career out of teaching people how to make money using social media and technology, and that's really where my career took off. I ended up working for Inman News as their chief evangelist, hosting their conferences. That's actually me interviewing the CEO of Evernote. I got to interview people from Hootsuite and Twitter and Facebook. It was a great experience. And then I actually also worked for a company some of you are familiar with called Dotloop. And during my time at Dotloop, I released a book called People Work, and our company was acquired by Zillow for $108 million off of the back of that book. And today, I have my own company, Curator. We work with 700 top producing real estate teams, and we help them do what I'm about to teach you. We help them double or triple their business using Facebook ads, using strategies that are proven. So I'm going to get into this for you guys, and I'm going to start with just some concepts about Facebook that are critical to understand if you ever want to have success. I know that one of the things that Facebook makes very easy for you guys to do is it reminds you when it's somebody's birthday. So if you're a realtor and you got a bunch of past clients on your Facebook profile, or if you're a loan officer and you've got a bunch of agents that you're friends with, Facebook's going to make it very easy to write on people's walls for their birthday. But what I find is that people are lazy. People love to cut corners. Like if you look at the screen, HBD, right? Like my birthday was recently, and a significant percentage of the people that told me happy birthday, they actually wrote HBD. That was all they wrote. So that's not really the way that we create relationships through social. In fact, I like to joke that if you ever come on my wall and you write HBD for my birthday, I'm going to reply with WTF. Like, is that the best we can do, is HBD once a year? And so what I'm going to share with you guys with Facebook, especially with ads, is that there's a way to do what's called BFS, which is built for social. The way that you build ads, the way that you write words, the way that you choose images, all of these things should change because it's social media. It's not just an advertising platform. So one example, and this is actually something you guys can do right now. Take out your phone right now and go on Facebook and go to your profile. We're not even talking about pages or ads yet. Just go to your profile. And I want you to ask your friends the question on the screen. How many states have you lived in? And that would be kind of a status update that's built for social. You will get more responses and more comments to that status update than you've probably ever gotten with anything you've ever posted. And there's a reason for that. It's an easy to answer question. You know, if you were to ask a question and say, hey, I've really moved around a lot. Anybody else move around a lot too? It's not as easy to answer as how many. So when you go to social media and you start asking why and what, it's a little deep to respond. You know, sometimes people are in the bathroom on their phone, guys. They don't have a lot of deep thought. So you got to keep it simple for social. Questions that are easy to answer. Questions that are tied to what you do, but not specifically about what you do. Like if I was a loan officer, I would ask my community, what's the lowest interest rate you've ever had on a loan? And I bet that would flood your comments with replies from your community. The other thing that's important to understand about Facebook, and I would write this down and I would underline it 3 times, Facebook is the internet. There was a time where AOL was the internet, and then Google was the internet. But today, Facebook is the internet. 1 out of every 4 page views happens on Facebook. 2 billion people have an account. 30 million people have a business page, but only 1 million small businesses are advertising. So this is kind of the golden era of Facebook. If you look at the graph on the chart, if you go back to like April 2012, that was when people would wake up and go to Facebook and see what their friends were eating. And I understand that if you weren't real excited about that back then, I totally get that. But if you look at now, Facebook is the #1 source of traffic for websites. So if you are looking to get leads, the first thing you have to do is get clicks. And the best place in the world to generate traffic is now officially Facebook. So don't think of Facebook as a fad. Think of Facebook as the internet for the foreseeable future. One of the things that comes up a lot when I work with real estate agents, I say, Chris, what about those millennials? You know, am I going to be able to connect with millennials? I heard they don't like Facebook. I heard the young people are leaving. Well, here's the data. This is the data around the percentage of reach amongst millennials and how often and how much time they spend there per month. And I don't care if you add Snapchat and Google Plus and Twitter, you could add them all up, and they still don't equal Facebook. So I don't get into these headlines that say Facebook's a fad, because there were headlines in the 1900s that said cars were a fad. And there were headlines, you know, about 25 years ago that said the internet was a fad. So right now, Facebook is king compared to any other network you could spend your time on. What's really exciting about Facebook is that you can generate exclusive leads. And what I mean by that is If somebody goes to Google and they do a search for homes, or they go to Google and they type in what are the interest rates, that's called demand fulfillment. That means that somebody is actively searching right now and you're paying to be in front of them. The difference with Facebook is that if I go to lowermybills.com, if I go to LendingTree, if I go to Bankrate, if I go to Google and I do a search, what do you think I'm going to do as soon as I'm done? I'm going to close what I'm doing and I'm going to go right back to Facebook. So I may not be going to Facebook to look for a refi. I may not be going to Facebook to look for a house, but that doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about those things while I'm there. And if you've ever gotten a lead, especially when I was with Quicken, we would get these leads from LendingTree. And the concept was, hey, 5 people are going to call to compete for your business. And if your interest rates aren't the lowest, that's a tougher call. I mean, I can still close them, don't get me wrong, but it's a tougher lead when 5 other people have it. So the other beauty about Facebook is that when you generate a lead from Facebook, you're typically the only loan officer or the only realtor who's actually working that lead. And when I talk about generating leads, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 leads a month. I'm talking about hundreds of leads a month. I believe you could fill your entire sales pipeline in mortgage or real estate with just Facebook ads. Like, this is one ad that we ran one time. And this one ad got 159 leads for about $80. And if you look at the reach and the engagement and all the metrics that it got, they're really world class. And I know if you're buying leads, you may be paying 50x what you can pay for your own leads through Facebook. So what we're really focused on, at least at my company, is we're trying to generate link clicks. We're trying to let somebody start their day on Facebook and then leave Facebook to come to our site or our page or our call to action or our landing page. And you can see that people are clicking on these links like crazy. So the first kind of pro tool I want you guys to check out is called Likealizer. And I think you guys are going to love this. The concept is, if you're going to be running ads and you're going to be generating leads through your page, you really want to kind of figure out how your business page on Facebook has been doing so far. So as an example, if you actually just go to likealizer.com, I went on there right before the call, and I was actually able to review. This is really cool, guys, because you can review any page. You can review any page, not just your own. And what I was able to find out instantly was the grade of Quicken Loans' page. And you can see right here, it's giving recommendations to make the page better. Respond to your questions and comments more quickly. Create more engaging content. Use more photos. Respond to the posts by other people more often. So what this tool Likealizer does is it will instantly grade your Facebook page, and then it will compare it to the average in your industry. So you don't need to be 100, you don't need to be a 90, but if in the finance sector, the average page is a 60, you would definitely want to make sure you were, there or higher. And you can see it gives some great suggestions on what to do to increase your score. But I could run an analysis of my page, I could run an analysis of some competitors' pages, and it really, really is helpful to have that data. So that's called Likealizer. The other thing I recommend doing, and this is just another cool tip you can start with, is if you actually go to your business page. So I've got my business page open up now. You guys should all be able to see it. And when you go to your Facebook page, there's a little tab at the top. It's called Insights. And I want to walk you guys through this for a second because it's critical, and you guys are going to love what you can learn about your page. So I'm going to click on Insights. That's at the top of your Facebook page. And then the first thing I'm going to do over here on the left is I'm going to choose Posts. And what Facebook's going to show me is they're going to show me every post I've ever published. See that? Every post I've ever published. Now what's really cool is I'm going to go here and I'm going to sort this. Because what I'm looking for is I'm looking for what are the things that I share that perform the best. And the takeaway would be do more stuff like that. So I can see all the posts I've ever done. Even if you didn't know Facebook was tracking this, they are. And what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to click on engagement. and I'm going to sort this list by the posts that I've done that have gotten the most clicks. Because remember, our goal is to get them to click on what we share and to go somewhere else. So I can check out any of these ads, and I can see very quickly that they had a lot of link clicks. This one had 300 link clicks. So if you go into your insights and you sort it by engagement, you're going to know immediately what your fans want to see. You will know very quickly if pictures of you or pictures of homes or, posting the rates, you'll know very quickly what you can find there. And then the other thing I wanted to show you guys, because I think this will help you every single day, is if you click on this little tab at the top, I'm still in the same section, there's a tab that says top posts from pages you watch. Now check this out. If I want to stalk one of my competitors, let's say I know that LendingTree does a great job on Facebook. I can actually put in LendingTree, and now I'm going to be able to stalk that page. I can watch that page. If I know that, Quicken is doing a lot of innovative things with social media, I'm going to watch that page, guys. And now every time I log in, I've got all the information from their page. I can see what their most popular post was, how many people they've engaged this week. So those are a couple pro tips. I'd love to know in the chat, are you learning some new things already? Is Likealizer, sorting your insights, spying on your competitors, are these the kind of tips that you are tuning in for? Because this is the kind of actionable advice that I'm going to try to give throughout the rest of the call. But go to Likealizer, check out your Facebook insights, and then stalk your competition. In the past, they called stalking stealing. And thankfully, Facebook calls it sharing. So all of this information's out there right at your fingertips.
And Chris, real quick. So first of all, this is awesome. The feedback we're getting and questions is fantastic. They're absolutely loving what you're bringing in here. Folks, I do want to shine a light in chat. We have been posting links that Chris has been talking about, so a few of you are asking us to repeat things. Go down to chat in the GoToWebinar control panel, and just about everything I think you want from this call is in there. Click on the links. And then also we are going to get to a point where we are going to do some Q&A. So be ready to ask questions and feel free to share those in the GoToWebinar control panel. And then my last ask is, who are you watching? I would love to know the lenders that you think are crushing it, or if there is an agent that you think is just crushing it on Facebook. We've got an amazing community here. Let's share that. I know some folks that I watch, and I will share some of that in chat throughout the call. Back to you, Chris.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. So the next thing I want to get into is the cost, because what's really neat is you can basically control your cost per click, and you can control your click-through rate. And Facebook has a lot of data around ads, but the data point that I want you guys to understand, the one that really matters the most, is called relevance score, okay? And what Facebook's going to do is they're going to look at an ad, and if it gets a lot of clicks and a lot of likes and a lot of engagement and people scroll through a lot of photos, they're going to give that ad a 10. Now, if you run an ad and not a lot of people click it and it's super spammy and it's basically like a picture of your business card that everyone ignores, that ad's going to cost a lot. So a lot of what I'm going to teach you guys for the rest of the class is basically how to do your ads so that they get a relevance score of 10. Because when your ads get a relevance score of 10, the cost per click and the click-through rate both get insanely better. So even though you could look at all these different statistics about ads, the one that Facebook values the most is called the relevance score. You guys could Google that or look that up to read more about it. But I wanted to give you, people ask me all the time, Chris, what makes a great Facebook ad? What are the factors that impact the performance of an ad? And so I wanted to put all of that on one screen, because the devil is in the details. You can't just pick a good image only. You can't just choose the right audience. It requires having the right budget. It requires having a call to action. It requires great copywriting. And then things like the time of the day or the day of the week that you do these things also matters quite a bit. So if you wanted to just sort of get a checklist, and I've got another checklist at the end, but what is it that makes a great ad? And what usually happens is one of our clients will call us. They'll say, hey, Chris, I ran an ad. Why don't you think it worked as well as it could have? Or why didn't it work? And all I'm getting at, guys, is this is the checklist. We start off and we look at what was the audience you targeted. What was your budget? What image did you choose? What did the ad say? Did you have a clear call to action? So there isn't one primary factor, but we've identified that these 8 to 10 factors, they really matter a lot. And I can answer questions on those like Dave mentioned at the end. But the most important thing to do is really to get the targeting right. And what I'm going to share with you guys right now, whether you're a loan officer or a realtor, this is going to blow you away, and you're going to want to start doing it right away. You're going to literally finish this call today, and I bet this will be the first thing you'll do after Likealizer. So maybe this will be the second thing you do. But I want to give you guys a couple tips on targeting, because you don't want to waste your money. You know, you want to target these ads at the right people. So I'm going to share with you guys a couple tips here, but when you log into your Facebook, if you look in the top left corner, I'll try to zoom in for you guys, there's a tab here. It says Ads Manager, okay? So I'm going to open up Ads Manager, and what I'm looking for in here is they have a button called Audiences. You'll see a big button here, Audiences. So basically, Facebook calls the people you target an audience. And that's what we want to do, is we want to build really juicy audiences so that our ads do great. So I'm going to show you guys 3 audiences that you would be crazy not to start with. And the first one, you just click here, Create Audience, and you're going to click Custom Audience. And this is so underutilized, but if you're a mortgage officer and you've got a bunch of realtors in your database, or if you're a realtor and you've got a bunch of past clients in your database, the best audience to start with is actually your current customers. So if I click here on Customer File, I can actually click Choose a File. And now all I'm doing here is just uploading a CSV file. So if I had all my contacts in Outlook, if I was a realtor and they were all in some kind of database, you go to where you have all your emails and phone numbers now. This works for emails or phone numbers. And you literally download that file, and then you upload it to Facebook. And now, when you go to run an ad, you can target that ad at only the people in your database. You could target an ad at only the people who already know you the best. And remember, the more people you try to target, the more expensive it gets. So you might as well start by targeting the people who already know you. And I'd love to know in the chat, did you know that you could do this? Like, is this a new tip for you? Because I meet thousands of people that want to do Facebook ads, and they all want to start by targeting strangers. And I think if you make if you make your money from past clients, referrals in your sphere, you'd be better off to start with those. Now, there's another option here, which is really cool. If you go to the same button, Create Audience, Custom Audience, I want to show you guys the second option because it says Website Traffic. And what this does, you guys, is if you've ever been on Amazon, like if I went to Amazon right now, and here's, this is my book on Amazon. So if you guys went to this link and then you didn't buy my book, have you ever seen an ad follow you around, for something you almost bought? Like I know recently I was like shopping for socks or something, and I bought a couple of the pairs, and I didn't buy a couple of the pairs. And the next time I went to Facebook, the socks were staring me in the face, okay? That's called retargeting, and that's something that all of you can do. You just go into Facebook, and you're basically saying, listen, anyone who visits my website in the last, call it 6 months, you can choose the date range, I want to be able to target them. I want to be able to target my website visitors. And then you would be able to do exactly what Amazon's doing. Anyone who's already visiting your website would then see your ads following them around. And that's just called a pixel. So if you've ever added Google Analytics to a website, adding the Facebook pixel is very much the same thing. You're just pasting a number into the header text of your site. But if you want to create that Amazon effect for your business, this is exactly how you do that. It's called a custom audience, and you're going to just choose the website traffic. So now you've got your database uploaded, you've got the people visiting your website being targeted, and then the last one, because I promised you guys 3, the last one is called a saved audience, okay? And this is where it gets really crazy. Like this is going to literally make you question if you should still use Facebook, because you're going to be blown away with how much they know about us. It's unbelievable. So as an example, if you wanted to target all the people in the United States, you're going to be at about 207 million. So what we're trying to do with saved audiences is we're trying to only target the people who we think would make us money. So as an example, let's say you don't work in the entire United States. Let's say you actually work where I live in Orlando, Florida. So the first thing you would want to start with is geographical targeting. Now, if you're a lender all over the country, you could just target the whole U.S. But if you're looking to get business locally, targeting by city can help quite a bit. So now we have 1.5 million people. Now, watch this, though, you guys. Let's say I'm a loan officer in Orlando, and I want to get in front of the top agents at the top companies. So what I can actually do, this is pretty cool. If you scroll down, they have a thing here called detailed targeting. And if I actually just type in Keller Williams, okay, right here it says employer, Keller Williams Realty. So I'm going to choose employer, Keller Williams. Then it's just going to start suggesting people. So it's suggesting Remax. It's suggesting Century 21. It's suggesting Coldwell Banker. You guys see how that works? Berkshire Hathaway. So now I'm not targeting Orlando. I'm not targeting regular people. I've actually got a list now of about 450 people, but they're in Orlando and they work at these companies. Now you can go even broader. You can say, you know what? I don't even want to target by company because I want all the companies. Well, then you would just go in and you would target by job title. So you would say real estate agent, okay? And now I can target by job title. So now I've actually got, back in Orlando, I've got 2,000 agents that are in Orlando that are real estate agents. Like that is so easy to do, and it's crazy not to. Now let me show you one other quick tip. Let's say you're targeting consumers, because Dave, you said that, the mortgage people have 2 customers. And let's say you want to start generating consumer leads from your Facebook ads. Well, I can actually target people who are interested in Quicken Loans. I can target people who are interested in moving, as an example, right? I can actually target, this is crazy, if I go to Browse and I go to Demographics and I go here to Home, I can actually make sure everybody I'm targeting is a homeowner. So if you're going to do, Facebook ads for refinances, why would you target renters? So now I'm not targeting any renters. All of these people own a home. So this is something I'm wondering, like, is this a screen you've never seen? I'm sure now that you've seen it, you may want to hop in here. But man, you can target all kinds of stuff in here, guys. It's unbelievable. You can go to behavior and go to what's called residential profile. And if you go to their residential profile, you're actually going to see the length of their residence. So if you know that the average refi happens, 3 years or more after they buy, I can actually just choose 3 to 5 years and 6+ years. So if you look at that formula I built, now these are really targeted leads. And I hope you guys enjoyed that little takeaway. But all you do once you build the audiences is you just save them. And now you've got them to lean on anytime you run an ad. The last couple tips, and then we'll get into the Q&A. If you're a real estate agent or a lender, the 80-20 rule is going to apply to Facebook as well. And what I mean by that is that Like if you're in real estate or mortgage, 20% of your customers take up 80% of your time. That's the 80-20 rule. Well, with Facebook, it's very similar. 20% of your ads are going to get you 80% of your results. And so if you're a realtor, as an example, and you had 10 listings, you wouldn't want to advertise all 10. You would want to advertise the one or two that were the best. Same thing on the lending side. If you go off after this class and you run 10 Facebook ads, just understand that 2 or 3 are going to end up really doing well, and 7 or 8 you're going to want to stop. So you can run 100 ads. Just know that 20 or 30 will do great, 70 or 80 will just fall into that kind of average bucket, and you want to keep an eye on that. So what we recommend is never start with a huge budget. You can start with a $50 or $100 budget, and then as the ad is either performing well or not, you can double down. So once you start your ad, you can always go back to your ad anytime and add additional money. I always try to explain this like if you went to the horse track and you didn't have to place your bet until the horse ran the first 2 laps. Once you've identified that an ad is doing really well, you don't want to always go back and make more. Sometimes the best strategy is just to double your budget on the ads that have already performed well. The last thing, and then we'll get into Q&A, is going to be something that we've learned called escape velocity. And what I mean by that is if you double your ad spend on an ad that's doing good, you can actually 4x your results. So if you look at the 2 ads on the screen, the ad on the right was a $46 ad. The ad on the left was $197. So similar ad, similar home, similar everything but the budget, right? And what ended up happening is by spending 4 times more money, our client actually got almost 9 times more clicks. So they got 1,773 clicks by increasing their budget by 4. Meanwhile, they only got 222 clicks with the $46 budget. So what happens is when you identify that an ad is doing really well, you're going to definitely want to put more and more money into that ad, because what ends up happening is this concept of escape velocity. The last tip, and this is the way that you get relevance score 10 for all of your ads. If you want your ads to get a relevance score of 10, this is the #1 hack that we figured out will do that. When people look at ads on Facebook, they're not always willing to click on the link in the ad, but they're almost always willing to look through pictures. So if you look at that ad on the left, guys, notice how we did an album, and there's actually the 3 big pictures, but see how there's 17 more? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to stop and look at the photos and scroll through the photos, because every single time somebody does that, it makes the cost of everything cheaper. So if you've ever gone on vacation and after your vacation you uploaded an album, that's the same style that does the best with these ads. So if I had a property, or let's say let's say you're a loan officer and you have 8 really great testimonials from 8 different couples that you've worked with. I would put the picture of all 8 couples in an album so that the people that are interested in the link, it's still there for them, but people are drawn to people's faces. People are drawn to pictures of people. And so the album with a home or the album with people in it typically does the best. But there's a lot of different choices when you design your ad. You can do a video, you can do a link to website, you can try to get more likes, but we've just found that nothing performs better than the photo album. That is something that really has helped us keep our volume of clicks high and our cost per click really low. The last slide, and then Dave, we'll open up the Q&A, is this is just a little grader. I think the slides are actually in the GoToMeeting, but if you really want a great ad, you really just want to kind of run it through this simple formula. Does the ad help you get a lead? Is the ad relevant? Does the ad hit that escape velocity where that cost per click goes really low? Does the ad have a lot of engagement and likes? And lastly, is the ad repeatable? Because if you have, the first four are great, but then you can't quite repeat that, now you're kind of back to square one. So there's just a simple little grading sheet that we use. Hopefully you guys will find it valuable as well. And Dave, at this point, I'm hoping that your audience is starting to understand why I wrote a whole book about this. Facebook advertising and marketing done right, it's not complicated, but there are a lot of devils in the details. So I hope your audience enjoyed this class, and I'd love to answer some questions now.
Wow. Yeah, no, the audience is loving it. The feedback is coming rapidly. So folks, keep the questions coming, whether we get to all the questions today or not. I have a feeling we're going to be inviting Chris back, and I also have a feeling that you guys are you're gonna go to his website. We put a link to this in chat. You go to his Facebook page. We gave you his website, and we highly recommend you read his book. It's just fantastic. Chris, in terms of just one contact point for people to engage with you after this call, if there was one, what would it be?
Amazon.com. The conversion code. The best place to get in touch with me is to basically buy the book, and all my info's in there. You can also just go to my Facebook page right there on the screen. That was one of the tricks I taught in the book, Dave. People don't know that. Is if you're doing marketing for your Facebook page, you actually don't have to write out the word Facebook. You can use fb.com and it still works. Facebook owns both domains. So if people go to fb.com/curatorchris, just write on my wall, let me know you're watching today.
Oh, I love that. I did not know that either. And a new takeaway. Thank you, Chris. So we've got about 12 minutes left. First of all, the other question is, folks are going, where do I get the recording? You get the recording by going to our YouTube page, and this will be published, by the end of the day. And if you don't already subscribe to our YouTube page, highly recommend you do it. We've got hundreds of amazing interviews like this. I've had a number of mortgage professionals say, I learned the mortgage business by watching Mortgage Coach videos. Between amazing authors like Chris and amazing mortgage professionals that are just crushing it in the market, there's lots of value there. So Chris, before we break down some of your lead strategies, let's talk a little bit about conversion. I think old school, conversion was very simple. It was in person. You even got to the whole concept of how humans communicate. And today we're in a new school, and at Mortgage Coach, typically when our links are sent, it's either a text or an email. The family clicks on it, and the family gets an engaged, call it modern mobile experience. So first, any nuances to a Facebook lead that we should be aware of to maximize conversion? And then realize that, Mortgage Coach loan officers, they have this amazing conversion tool. Any advice you have on lead conversion before we get into some other stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to come back and just do a whole class on dominating the phone and the script that I've developed based on my time at Quicken and how impactful that can be. But the thing that I think people need to really hear loud and clear, Dave, is that you still have to pick up the phone. Like everything I just taught you gets you on the phone with more people. So there's so many people that are, tripping over nickels to pick up pennies. They want to Facebook themselves, to death. You can't put likes and followers in the bank. You can only put money in the bank. And the way that you create customers is by having conversations. So what I would focus on for conversion is just getting on the phone and getting good on the phone, because you're never going to SMS your way to a deal. You're never going to tweet your way to a deal. That may be where the conversation starts, but it's going to end up with you on the phone earning their business. And having technology and tools and things like the Mortgage Coach app, and I know you guys have another really cool new app coming out called My Nest. The technology for me, Dave, I have to have great tech and great unique value propositions, because it's so much work to get the lead and get the lead to pick up the phone. that when the lead picks up the phone, the last thing I'm going to do is drop the ball on my pitch. I've got to have tools that are impressive. Like I know a lot of times, you know, us in this industry, something like e-signature is sort of normal to us now. But like I remember in 2007, when somebody would click to sign their loan docs online, their jaw would hit the floor. So you have to definitely look for those sort of features that make you stand out. And I bet mortgage is a lot like real estate. I bet it's just a sea of sameness. Everybody just trying to copy each other, everybody using old school, ugly reporting, or not following up at all. So if technology can help you keep in touch post-sale, in my opinion, it's an absolute no-brainer. If it can also help you close the sale through improving your pitch, what are we waiting on? But again, all this technology, the My Nest, the Mortgage Coach, what we do at Curator, Facebook, these are enablers of more and better conversations. So my tip would be to get better at the conversation part.
Love that. And by the way, perfect opportunity to put a bit of a debrief on the call with Lori. You know, this is a loan officer doing $60 million a year in volume. I loved this quote: "Success is not an accident; it's a formula."
Perfect.
And she, you know, she just walked through her process. You know, when she delivers options, it's an amazing presentation. It's got graphs and charts. She can stream a video through it. So, you know, at the end of the day, I hope everybody's takeaway is there's a much bigger opportunity for you to be tremendously smarter in how you use Facebook from a targeting perspective. Hopefully, you know, you're all on this phone, you're all mortgage coaches. You're going to make sure that you use our apps better from a conversion standpoint. It's kind of interesting. Our marketing team yesterday, and this was posted on Facebook, they came out with some images that just, you know, help you tell your story. You know, call it shareable stories and strategies that we really created these, you know, well, yes, you could download it and you could, you know, share this as what you're doing, but we did it to inspire you, to make sure that you're integrating our tools and strategies to tell your stories. If you missed the interview I did with Denise Donahue, she does an incredible job of just telling stories around how she helped families. So Chris, let's just, you know, we've got about 8 minutes left. I'm going to get to some questions that came in, but this question has been coming in. They're saying, hey, I've got Mortgage Coach. I've got these graphs and charts. I need to tell stories. Anything that you could, you know, just, and you covered it a little bit, and I know we could probably spend a whole call on this, but any advice when it comes to story selling on Facebook, anything else that you could help us so when we do make these posts, we really nail it? And then one last caveat before you answer, if there's a way that we could do this in a way that we're partnering with an agent, where we're doing this with an agent. Any thoughts come to mind?
Yeah, I think what happens, Dave, is a lot of times realtors and loan officers, their natural tendency is to share stats, and the only thing people ever really remember are stories. So if you go back a couple slides where you've got that beautiful branding of the people, you know, I like to lead with people like, yeah, like this one, or if you go back even a couple more, there's just some beautiful graphics you guys did where these are two of my favorites here, Dave, because people are more drawn into stories than statistics. So the way I would think of it, and we actually did research on this for my book, Dave, you'll love this. When you start a blog post with a story, it has a 300% increase in time on website. So instead of saying, holy cow, interest rates are the lowest they've ever been, you really want to quantify it the way that you did in your post. I just helped Susie save $30,000 a year on her loan. Like, that's going to help. Here's what she's going to use that towards, or the net increase of value, etc. So I'm big on visuals and data and some of the graphics that I see here. But what I would try to do to complement that would be, you know, where's the picture of Denise with her arm around the guy? Like, that's what people are looking for. What are the things that you would share on your profile? Because for whatever reason, Dave, when we go and do an ad, we like do everything different, than we don't do an ad. To me, a perfect ad for what you guys are talking about are the ads on the screen, but if it was the actual clients, this stuff, this is it, man. Trust me, I know it doesn't look as sexy as the other ads, but this is the kind of real world stuff people want to see. So it's not just the pixels, it's the person. It's not just the app, it's the advice. It's not just the stats, it's the story. And I know that, just my experience in lending was people, they don't want to save money. They want to save money because they want to use it for something else. So I would even go deeper. I would be showing the car that my client bought because of the savings I got them. I would be showing the degree that my client's kid got from a college because of the loan that we helped them with. So the fact that you guys are providing this to your clients is world class, Dave. I love that you have this because from my experience, most of the people listening just want us to tell them what to say, how to say it, tell them which image to use. They're not looking to reinvent the wheel. They just want to do what works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I love it, man. This call has been fabulous. I did want to shine a light for everybody who's missed it. One, we do have a Instagram page, and it's all about what we call real life. Mortgage Coach, real world experiences of mortgage professionals helping families, having conversations with realtors. So check that out. Also, these pictures, they tell a story. And so I love what you said, telling stories of helping people make better decisions, being a trusted advisor. So if you do have great photos of you adding value to families, please share those with us. This is, we can't get enough inspiration like this. And then from a Facebook standpoint, to me, this is a conversation. We want to see great posts. I showed a couple posts that I personally love, from Denise Donahue. We've interviewed her a few times, so if you want to listen to that call where we talk about her strategy. But I would love to see more examples of mortgage coaches, story selling, showing pictures of the family, showing pictures of our tools in tech, helping people make more confident, more informed decisions. Guys, bring it on. So we've got 3 minutes left. One, I just want to post, I know how people are going to respond to this, but I want to know what you guys thought of today's call. Should we bring Chris back? Did he just wow you and surpass your expectations? Did you get some solid takeaways? What did you think of the call? If you are a guest on this call and you want to learn more about Mortgage Coach, you were invited by someone, you can click that last option. I'd like a demo. And by the way, Chris, I will have to tell you, I think this is the highest scored call of the year. You've knocked it out of the park, and we bring in some pretty amazing speakers.
Well, the fact that it's the end of the year means a lot. If this was January, right? I'm not sure that would have been a compliment.
You really, man, you have knocked it out of the park with value. So,
well, yeah, you made me think of one other thing, Dave. For the loan officers to just really take this idea of stories and run with it. Like we have a gym owner who uses our stuff up in New Hampshire, and the idea is it's not about how to lose 15 pounds. It's about how Sally lost 15 pounds. It's not about how to get a six-pack. It's about how a 62-year-old got a six-pack. That little subtle difference is everything, Dave. And that's, we live in a world where people like reading about people. My personal brand is actually way bigger than Curator. My personal brand is bigger than my company's brand because people would rather keep up with people. And the other thing you made me think of, Dave, when you were saying you're showing all those pictures, I could hear a percentage of the audience cringing because they just don't feel comfortable sharing pictures of themselves, right? Well, what do you do when you meet with someone? You look how you look. People aren't looking for models, they're looking for people. We found that sometimes the pictures of a regular person perform better than the picture of a stock photo. So whether you're overweight or you're going bald or you have some wrinkles that you didn't used to have, quit being afraid to be yourself, because that's why people are going to hire you. They hire you. No offense to the lending companies out there. Typically, people liked me. They didn't like Quicken. They didn't care who their loan was through. They wanted to work with Chris. And so if you're not willing to put yourself out there a little bit, then how are you going to draw people to you? And if you're always hiding behind stats and stock photos, then it's going to be really awkward when we do finally meet at Starbucks.
Love it. And I'm closing. This is a picture of our interview. In our tool, the loan officer can add a video, and you're so right, Chris. This is a big hurdle for a lot of people to just pull out their mobile phone and add a video to a total cost analysis. But in terms of shareability, we know that it goes from, on average, 3 people look at a total cost analysis. When a video is added, it's getting shared like 2x, 3x times. Mm-hmm. So more of you out there, be yourselves, get out there, have a conversation on Facebook. We all know how to say thank you to Chris. It's buy his book. And by the way, I wouldn't have brought him on here if buying his book wasn't a massive gift. So this recording will be in our YouTube channel. Hopefully you will read his book. Hopefully you will love it. And hopefully you'll give him a review. Let's face it, that's value. If Chris gave you value today, return the favor, buy the book, read it, put it in action, and give him a review. So Chris, super grateful for the time you spent. I do want to take you up on that offer to come back and, wow us with conversion strategies. So let's get something on the calendar, brother.
Sounds good, Dave. Thanks for sharing your audience with me. I know you've worked a long time to build a lot of trust with your community. So I do value you bringing me on here. And I'm a mortgage guy at heart. I mean, I may have moved on and been doing some other things now, but when I speak at conferences, if you read the 3rd section of my book, there's probably more mortgage guy lingo than realtor, because I've never been a realtor. I've only been a mortgage guy. So my scripts, my dialogues, my feature benefit tie down, how to overcome objections, your audience is going to eat the book up. And if anybody buys it and they don't like it, just let me know. I'll give you a money-back guarantee. But thanks for having me. I'm pumped to come back next year.
Yeah, no problem. So reminder, everybody, sign up for our Rockstar program. Next week's call is going to be with Kristen Messerly. It's a great follow-up to this. She has done an extensive study of the best apps for home buyers and realtors, and she is going to unpack what she considers to be the 5 top apps. And she's put together a pretty comprehensive study of over 30 apps that home buyers and realtors are using. So next week's call is going to be amazing. Check it out. And like I said, if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you go in there and check out Chris's. One last plug for MyNest before we wrap it. We are launching this through select partners. So if you are working for one of our select partners, we will be activating MyNest soon. All you need to do is email mynest@mortgagecoach.com to get on the waiting list. Realize that it is coming to you soon through select partners. It can be downloaded today, so check it out. Stay tuned. Have an awesome day, awesome week, everybody. See you later.